Great to be here. Really awesome to spend time with everyone. I'm one of the co-founders and COO of Tenet. I've been interested in climate tech and electrification since my time at MIT. And really, the evolution in the past couple of years has been amazing in terms of R&D, what Tesla has done in particular, and making these cars more available and super performant, right? Today, I'd love to just talk a little bit about how to own and drive a Tesla for less, talking about not just why these cars are better, but also why they're better for your wallet and how Tenet's mission lines up with that, and we enable that. We'll have some time for Q&A at the end, and I'll also be interviewing one of our MVP customers, Micah Bergdale, who also is a member of the New York Tesla Owner Club and is the CEO of Jules. So first, just who are we? How can we save you money with your electric vehicle purchase or refinance? 2, we'll speak with Micah. Then 3, we've actually built for Tesla enthusiasts a S3XY savings calculator so that you can see how much you could get another S3 X or Y or your first one on a monthly payment basis. Time for Q&A, and then a little bit of a teaser for a future event. So Tenet, our mission is simple. We really are here to accelerate EV adoption by not just making it easier and more affordable to finance, but also understanding EV ownership end to end, from the purchase journey through ownership, and arming people with the products and information that they need to be owners. By the end of 2023, we're looking to put 20,000 EVs on the road and save over 100,000 metric tons of carbon. The way we primarily do this is through EV financing. First off, our standard loan is 0.25% lower than what you would get through banks or the Tesla financing partners like Wells Fargo. And 2, we also have a deferred down payment option that can reduce the payment by $100 to $200 a month, putting it on par with a gasoline vehicle's payment, which is really important for accelerating adoption. And this is our core thesis. EVs aren't just better cars. They're also cheaper to own than gasoline equivalents. If you paid outright for a Tesla Model 3, you would break even versus a Lexus, a similar Lexus, within 3 years. It's a higher upfront cost on the purchase price, but all of the annual maintenance, fuel costs, and insurance put together, they save you every single year. What we're doing at Tenet is making that equation obvious from day one. So with the deferred payment option, we can get the financing payment equivalent to a gasoline vehicle. So in this example, it's $652 for a Model 3 versus $662 per month for an equivalent Lexus. And when you add up all the other costs associated with the vehicle, you're saving $200 a month from day one, which we're really proud of. What's our secret sauce? So there are 2 things that we do here. One is on the rate and working with mission-aligned ESG sources of capital. They also want to get more cars on the road. We've also seen through our data analysis and also our own experience as a lender that EV buyers are more responsible at paying back their loans than gasoline buyers. That translates into lower rates. It's something that traditional financing hasn't factored in at all. And the other piece is EVs hold their values so well that we're very comfortable pushing some of that down payment backwards in the loan so that it's not such a big upfront cost to buy your first, second, or third electric vehicle. With that EV specific knowledge, that's how we get those $100 to $200 of savings each month. Most traditional lenders, they're used to gasoline cars, which have many thousands of moving parts versus the hundreds of moving parts in a Tesla. That's a lot of things that can go wrong. When they go wrong, you need to repair it with whatever the technology was at the time of manufacture. One of the beauties of Teslas and why some of them have even made it to 1 million miles is that when you do replace the battery, it gets upgraded. And it's not that a battery replacement is expected. The normal lifetime of the vehicle is 11 years. And most of these batteries are expected to last for 14 years. But if you're in a really high commercial use situation, having that battery upgrade, it basically makes it a new car. And that combined with software updates mean that the cars hold their value so well. Obviously, there are also some supply and demand constraints at the moment. There's more demand than supply can meet, which is also, as everyone's noticed, increased Tesla prices in particular. So I wanted to introduce Micah. Micah is also based in New York. And Micah, do you want to share a little bit about Jules, how you started in this space?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. So I started literally with one car last year, ended up doing it through a traditional Tesla finance partner, Chase, and got a terrible rate. So that was kind of what they ended up putting me into when I got our first Tesla. But I always like to joke that I was a guy with a car and a dream. I just wanted to get more Teslas on the road and be able to rent them out here in New York City. I really saw a gap for people who were interested in EVs more generally, as well as Teslas, where they wanted to have more of a longer scale of a trip and being able to try it out. We actually have had a lot of people who have turned around and bought Teslas as a result of renting from us. And so I started with one car. We now have over 40 cars. And the very first thing that we ended up doing with Tenet was actually they refinanced that Chase loan and actually saved us a ton of money as a result of that. But they also were critical in helping us get off the ground here in New York and financed a number of different vehicles and got us, our initial fleet. I think it was 14, 15 cars about that you guys ended up doing. And that just really set us in motion to be able to generate positive cash flow, grow a team, get a garage put together. And, we're off to the races. We have over 40 cars now here in New York City, the vast majority of them Teslas. But, Tenet was really critical to being able to launch the company.
Yeah, amazing story. And so after you had that Chase loan, how did you find out about Tenet and why did you choose Tenet instead of other options?
Well, you guys were really nice, first of all, but no, I'm trying to think back the moment that we ended up getting introduced. It might have actually been through the Tesla Owners Club group, like a connection there. And it was just kind of an EV connection. And they said, well, if you're looking to finance EVs, definitely give Tenet a call. In fact, when we first connected, I didn't even realize you were in New York City. I assumed you were one of various finance companies that are spread around the country. So pleasantly surprised that not only were we able to be in the same city, but get together and shake hands and work together. So.
Yeah, we are in 29 states, but New York is our home. So that's also why we've got a special connection with Stephen. And what's the experience been like so far being a Tenet customer?
You guys have been updating the website, and I would say it's probably one of the most interactive and kind of engaging finance sites that you could find out there. And mostly because it's taking into information as it relates to the EV itself and providing that as part of the portal for the customer. And I've just never seen anybody do that. Your traditional, the Chases of the world, they're just going to give you, loan details and really nothing that talks about the specifics of having a Tesla or having an EV, and what the valuation of your vehicle is, and some of the things that you need to be thinking about. I mean, it's just, I feel like you guys have put a lot of thought and process into a really interesting portal that can be really beneficial for customers, and I know you guys are constantly innovating on it too. So
yeah, there's still a lot of work to do. There's a long way to go on that ownership side of the equation, but it's also something that really excites us about EVs, is because they're smart cars, you can connect into them and you can understand them better. And I think we'll continue to find ways to not just save money up front, but also over the lifetime of a vehicle with optimized charging, and hopefully one day virtual power plants will be available to cars as well. And then what advice would you give to anyone who is considering financing or refinancing their electric vehicle today?
I mean, definitely shop around, but again, I feel like you guys provide a personal level of service that's just really not found often in this industry. And I mean, I know you brought me on to promote you guys too. It's just, I'm being candid when I say I really have just been very, very happy with the fact that I can reach out to you. I can reach out to Anand, who's one of the main contacts that we work with there. I literally have, a mobile number of somebody I can text to just ask a quick question, and somebody responds back to me. And you don't find that with a normal finance company.
Yeah, and then a fun one to close this out, but where do you see the EV industry going?
I mean, obviously one of the things that we're trying to do at Jules, and this kind of gets into how we're working together, but we're encouraging owners to actually consider renting out their vehicles. And part of what we're doing is managing those vehicles on behalf of owners. So we have our first handful of Tesla owners that have actually lent us their car. And we're doing it almost kind of like, the best way to describe it is an Airbnb model, where you have management companies that will manage an Airbnb property on behalf of an owner. So we rent it out on our own website through Turo, Tesla Rents. There's a number of different platforms that we utilize in order to be able to rent out the vehicle, but we handle the cleaning, if there's insurance claims, delivering the vehicle to the customer, and then you yourself have access to that vehicle. And I mentioned that kind of in the representation in terms of like, where does this go? I think individual ownership will always be there, but I think there's going to be more and more kind of car sharing as part of what ends up happening. And I think there's a real opportunity for people to not only own their individual Tesla, but particularly in the New York City market, where people don't necessarily need to drive every single day because they have other forms of transportation that they end up taking, that there's an opportunity to be able to rent out the vehicle. And, obviously we're here to help manage that process too.
Yeah, definitely. And we're very focused on the cost side of the equation right now, and having a better car for your wallet. But as soon as you can flip the switch on revenue, completely changes that whole paradigm. And this is a great way to do it. It also kind of is the stepping stone to what Elon talks about with robo-taxis for older Teslas. If you've got a second Tesla coming up, don't sell the first one, make money off of it.
And in fact, to add to that, that was actually exactly what one of our customers did, or one of our partners. They had a new Tesla was coming in, their lease wasn't quite up for the original one. So they actually sent us the newest one, kept the old one, the lease that they're closing out on, and we're generating revenue for them. And in fact, we're generating about $1,000 above the monthly payment insurance costs. So, I mean, they're netting out close to, with the rev split, about $700, $800 on top of what their costs are.
Thanks so much, Micah. And kind of broader future, what we see at Tenet is EVs are just the beginning, right? It's and we've seen it so often, not with just Tesla owners from across the country and internationally, but also within the New York Tesla owner group, where you really get a feel for electrification with the EV. It makes you start thinking about what it means for your home. Can you save money by generating your own electricity or being smarter about consumption? I think the Inflation Reduction Act will also accelerate this in a very meaningful way, because it expands the tax credits from solar and batteries also into things like heat pumps, which are a more efficient way to heat and cool your home. We are starting to talk with several platforms in the US who help install and do the financing with them. And ultimately, I think where we have to get is to net zero homes. And net zero homes, that's green mortgages. And I think that's much further in the future, but it'll come faster than any of us expected. I'm just gonna demo something fun that we put together for the Tesla takeover in California a couple of weeks ago. And it lets anyone really understand what the new payment would be on a S3 X or Y, based on the trim, based on any add-ons, and kind of your expected rate. And this is at a public link, so I'll just demo it, but anyone can check this out afterwards, and Nikki just dropped it in the chat as well. So we wanted to show kind of what's the impact of using Tenet on if you were going to buy a new Tesla today. So you can select kind of, we'll just go with the Y, given that's selling the most recently. You can select the trim here. We'll do the Gemini wheels, customize the interior a bit, add in a wall charger. We finance the chargers as well. Here we can do, this is fine, there's a small down payment. Then next, I'll just go with good credit, average credit of 720 to 760. And what you'll see here in the offers is the typical monthly payment is something that we do offer. That's an installment loan where it's the same payment every single month. And for that Y, it would be just over $1,000 if you're putting a minimal amount of money down. What we're enabling is saving up to $200 a month, in this case, with a monthly payment that's $870. It's at a fair interest rate right now that's hovering above 5%. Rates have been increasing, so if you are looking at refinancing, definitely try and do that sooner rather than later. We try and keep our rates as low as possible. As I mentioned before, we are consistently 0.25% lower than Tesla's financing partners like Wells or like US Bank. And this is because we understand the EV, and we have customized our loan options specific to the EV, noting that it holds its value better. We actually don't see this as a significant risk, because a lot of people will pay after year one when they get a tax credit, and tax credits are now a thing for Teslas. As soon as this bill has been signed, it's now been signed. I don't know the exact date when those new tax credits will go into effect, but it's $7,500 on a new car and $4,500 on a used car, which is a big change because there was never a tax credit for used car purchases. And actually, this is John from the Tesla in Silicon Valley, who had some nice things to say. And he was our first customer in California. We saved him significantly on his refinance. How much is the deferred balloon payment? So Amir, it depends on how old the vehicle is. And it also depends on the loan amount versus the vehicle value. But we're looking at the maximum is 25% of the vehicle value can be deferred, and that would be on a shorter term loan. On a longer term loan, we're typically seeing a 10 to 15%. So do you need any part-time underwriters for the team? We use automated decisioning. So Experian is our credit partner. We use Experian self-reported financial information from customers like income, which we then verify through Plaid. Most of the work we're doing on underwriting is actually looking backwards at our data and seeing where we need to change our models. And we work a lot with our credit risk officer there. In terms of the operations, we have origination specialists who have experience not just in auto, but also mortgages. And they help people through the flow, but we don't actually have an underwriting team because we're automating a lot of the decisioning. And then Zach, any options to refinance to an LLC now or in the future? Great question. We get asked this quite a lot, especially by people who are generating revenue from the vehicles, similar to what Micah was speaking about before. The title can be in any name, but the loan itself is with the individual. We are not set up right now to underwrite business risk, just consumer credit risk, which is why we go with that model. We do make it easy, though, unlike other lenders, to add more than one vehicle as a loan, especially if you can show the revenue history from those previous vehicles. And we've actually updated our loan agreement to allow for kind of like commercial use, like car sharing. We also actually offer extended warranties, which cover commercial, which has been an issue with the more recent Tesla models. We actually found this out with Micah. The more recent Tesla models, if you're not the first owner of the vehicle and you're the second owner of the vehicle, and you're using it for commercial use, it can void the warranty. So we have worked to get an extended warranty, and we can offer that manually right now, but that'll be automated through the platform, I think at the beginning of September. Prince, can you tell us more about how someone can move forward with starting a rental business with the vehicles? I cannot, but Micah probably can.
Yeah, I mean, Turo recently opened up here in New York. This was the last state that they were able to open up into. I will say, as someone who just dealt with a vehicle that was stolen yesterday, and that was the second one that I've had stolen this summer, just be prepared that there is a lot of different things that you have to deal with. And the nice thing is they all have GPS. Generally, you can find them. I mean, I think it's something like 99% of Teslas are recovered, but it was stolen and was damaged. And it was a result of somebody, and when I say stolen, they use fraudulent information in order to be able to get access to the vehicle. Turo then turns around, it's like, oh, we caught fraud on the account. We need to recover the vehicle. But I guess I just use that as an example of, unless you're planning on doing this on a full-time basis, it's a really hard side hustle. Because I know a lot of people that have tried Turo as a side hustle, and after about 6 to 12 months just said, I can't do this, it's too much, because they get calls at 2 a.m. of an accident, or all the different challenges. And part of what we're doing for Jules is, I mean, I have a team over in India to handle overnight calls. We've built up an extensive team here in New York that can do detailing and recovery and repairs and maintenance and just all the different things that need to happen. So I would never tell somebody not to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams, but just as a word of caution, that there are definitely challenges as it relates to it. And New York, unfortunately, is also notorious for some of the challenges, like the stolen vehicle issues and fraud and that kind of stuff. So just an eyes wide open type of thing to say.
Yeah, I think Turo does offer some pretty good resources on kind of what you could earn. And then I think what's great about having Mike in this group is he offers the managed service there. So it takes some of the headache out of your hands. There are certainly things which you need to think about that you wouldn't naturally think about as just a personal car owner. You need to make sure you have insurance, maintenance, or not maintenance, but warranty, which covers the activities. So that's one thing to look into. And then, Charles, how would I apply for a loan through Tenet? So it's easy. You can go on tenet.com, and it depends on if you're refinancing or if you're financing a new purchase. If you're refinancing, really all you need is your vehicle VIN and to enter some of your information and authorize a soft credit pull. It won't have any impact on your credit, but you'll be able to see loan options. And if you like one of the loan options, you can then go forward. On the purchase flow, it's very similar, but the one thing I would note is right now we do require the VIN to finalize that purchase loan because we need it in the loan agreements. What we're working on right now, because of the long lead times on deliveries, is figuring out how we can just use the reservation number that you get from Tesla. And then once it converts into a VIN and you have a clear delivery date, we'll then finalize the loan. And again, you can sign that digitally online. You don't ever need to come into a location with Tenet. If you have future questions about how to finance with Tenet, on the website, there's both our email address and phone number, and there will always be someone to pick up. You can also email us directly. We are, as has been mentioned before, very, very friendly.
There was one question too from Prince, and just in terms of Turo reimbursing. They will reimburse. They do have their own insurance, so it's not as though there's no insurance coverage that occurs as part of that, but they don't cover you for the fact that you just lost an entire day of your time for chasing around a vehicle that was stolen, the damage that was done. There's an insurance program, but you have to go through traditional claims process. It can take weeks. I've had one that's been over a month to get processed. So it is, those are the types of logistical headaches that I just always encourage people to be aware of. And it's a big reason why I'm building out a team. I'm not doing this by myself. We have almost 10 people now that are part of our team. And then we have, again, resources over in India that are doing both software development as well as customer service overnight. So it requires really more of a team effort.
And then there was one follow-up question from Charles. Would you be able to add self-driving into the loan? And the answer to that is yes. We look at the MVPA from which you get from Tesla to see what the vehicle value is, and then quote based on that. The maximum loan amount with Tenet is $95,000, and the max loan amount for a personalized loan offer is defined by the vehicle value. So we won't finance over 110% of the price before taxes and add-ons. And it's also defined by ability to pay. It's part of our underwriting model.
Hey guys, thank you so much. I just wanted to, say attending some of the Tesla owners events has been the most fun part of this job, just getting to connect with the EV community and meet everyone. So Tenet in our New York office are going to be hosting an official Climate Week event that we're really excited about. And that would be a great opportunity. It's open to everyone. All we ask is that you register so we can make sure that we've got space and drinks and snacks and everything for everyone. But our event is going to be bringing together a bunch of people from across all spaces of electrification. So customers, investors, entrepreneurs, we're putting together a panel discussion that our CEO of Tenet will be speaking on, where we discuss just the growing electrification industry and the fact that, we're transitioning towards this electrified future. It's a really exciting time. And if you want to come meet us, have some drinks, and learn about EV adoption and, industry trends, like please come say hi.
Well, yeah, Andreas, Nikki, Micah, thank you for co-hosting this event with us. Thank you for hosting that event on the 22nd. We'll make sure that we spread the word on that. And I believe you also put your email addresses in the chat as well. And we could put that in the YouTube description for anyone that would have any other questions if they want to reach out to you.
Thanks for the great questions. Really great spending time with everyone. And we hope to see you in our offices here in Soho.